This is MTG Degree. My name is Luke, and on today's video...
Dude, what are you doing? Stealing my channel?
No!
Dude, feel like you're stealing my channel right now.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to steal your channel.
Hey guys, this is the real Luke from MTG Degree, and this is my buddy here. He taught me how to play something important, which is Pack Wars. So go ahead and introduce yourself, buddy.
Hi guys, I'm not MTG Degree. My name's Charles. Friends here with Luke, and I like to open packs. So the greatest format in the world, opening packs.
The greatest?
Yeah, the greatest.
Amazing. Standard, modern, legacy, not comparable.
You get to actually play the cards.
To Pack Wars.
Instead of just shuffling them and putting them somewhere, you actually get to play with every card.
It's true.
So, you want to play some Pack Wars?
Yeah, let's do it. Hey guys, nice to have you here for the Pack Wars World Tournament. You'll notice here that each player has 15 land out, 3 of each basic land type. This is so that the players can cast all the spells on their deck, and what you see them doing here is sleeving up all of their cards and getting ready to shuffle them in. The important thing is that they have no idea what they're playing with, so the game can be a real crapshot. The use of sleeves has become prevalent in the metagame. The reason for this is that when you have a sleeved card, you can shuffle it more thoroughly, and so these players can avoid getting lumps of mana or lumps of spells without the proper colors. By sleeving, they allow themselves to shuffle much more thoroughly than the average unsleeved deck. Another reason shuffling is paramount is because there are no mulligans in Pack Wars. You must simply play with your opening hand. Alright, MTG rolls for first and gets a 7. Charles rolls, off the table, sloppy. Re-rolls and gets a 6. MTG Degree will be on the play for this round. The players cut each other's deck to ensure fair play. With all the high-profile cheating and tournament magic in recent months, it's important to keep YouTubers like MTG Degree straight. Oh, and we see a Learn from the Past in MTG Degree's opening hand. This is actually an incredible card in this format, just like Cranial Archive 2 formats past. Learn from the Past allows you to 1-for-1 for a long time, and then simply reshuffle everything into your deck and draw gas from that point onward. Charles is feeling some of the awkwardness of this format. He just drew a Dragon's Eye Sentry, even though he has no white mana. An awkwardly weak drop later in the game. A nice pull from Charles, not just a regular island, a foil. Alright, it's time of truth for MTG Degree. It's his third turn. Will he pull a land? That way he can play a morph for the turn? And he gets an island. Perfect draw. He'll be morphing in a Tarka Efreet. Easy choice. Lots of damage early in the game if Charles can't put something down. An Ojutai Interceptor here from Charles, and he has the mana to cast it, so this Efreet will not go unanswered. On the other side of the table, MTG Degree is looking at a Guardian Shield Bearer. If he draws a mana in his next 2 draw steps, he can use that as a combat trick quite soon. And he draws exactly the mana he needs, and it's in an additional color, so any draws from now will only be limited if they're black. And another mountain for Charles, not what he needs right now. A removal spell would be fantastic, but right now it looks like Wandering Tombshell is his only play. Vandalize and Dragon's Eye Sentry are just not options right now. Charles here looking like he's considering just going for the race. Of course, if he flips up this Ojutai Interceptor, it'll be a 4-2 flyer, so he will be even. But it looks like he's just going to do the safe play and play the Wandering Tombshell instead. MTG Degree pulls a Self-Inflicted Wound. This is actually a very good card in this format because the fact that it hits 2 different colors actually is fairly selective. Of course, without targets or a swamp, he won't be casting it anytime soon. An attack from MTG Degree here. Let's see how Charles chooses to block. It's not an easy one, but the Wandering Tombshell should live through almost anything that can be flipped up. But of course, it's the one card that can kill it. This is too bad for Charles. And there's the point from MTG Degree, aiming the 1 damage from this Unmegamorph to Charles's dome. Overall, this attack will have done 3 damage. This is an important draw for Charles. He needs to get a body on the ground right now to stop this damage. The Atarka Efreet just does 6 a turn. It's too much. And he draws a Kalsizma Behemoth. That is perfect in this situation. The only removal spells in MTG Degree's hand are Self-Inflicted Wound and Pinion Feast. Neither one of those is going to hit this red ground creature. A Marsh Hulk. Not something that MTG Degree is going to be unmorphing anytime soon, but he can use it to simply clog up the ground if he wants to. Another land here from Charles, and it is not what he needs. Another creature would be great, but the play here is probably just to unmorph Ojutai Interceptor just to be efficient with his mana. Of course, on the other side of the table, we have a Pinion Feast waiting for that. It could be a real blowout. The question now is, does he attack with the Ojutai Interceptor or not? Alright, it's MTG's draw, and he gets a mountain for the turn. It's hard to imagine that he'll do anything with this mana other than use Pinion Feast to get that Ojutai Interceptor off the table. Alright, he's tapping his mana. It looks like it's for that Pinion Feast. Yeah, it's going to take down that Ojutai Interceptor. Quite the deadly card against flyers, but in most formats not really used. Of course, you have no choice over your deck in this game. Looks like MTG Degree is considering bolstering onto his Atarka Efreet. Of course, it won't get through the Kalsizma Behemoth either way, so he's just offering a trade here. Just saying, do you want to take damage or do you want to trade creatures? Of course, he's got Learn from the Past in his hand, so he's ahead on board and he'll be ahead in cards later in the game. This is a very easy trade for him to offer. Of course, for Charles, this decision isn't even close to easy. This is his only creature and he has no castable creatures in his hand. This next draw step will be a big one for Charles. He needs to get a creature on the field right away, but we have no idea what he's going to get here. Of course, half of his deck is land. And that's exactly what he draws. Another island. This has got to be painful for him right now. He shuffles his hand a little bit here, maybe just to convince MTG Degree that he might have drawn a trick or some gas. MTG Degree draws, and it's a Dragon Eye Sentry as well, the same thing sitting in Charles' hand, but he can actually cast it. He goes for attacks here. There's not really any way for Charles to stop this, so he takes the damage. Megamorphing here to put some more damage in. Pumps up that Marsh Hulk. That thing will be huge if it ever flips over. Charles goes down to 9 here. MTG Degree puts down the Dragon's Eye Sentry. It does have the damage required, but it has Defender, so Charles will live to see another turn either way. Charles is looking at his hand. He's got an Encase in Ice. He can actually cast it here. It doesn't slow down the clock, but it does get rid of that Guardian Shield Bearer for later. Charles is looking at his hand here. He knows he can't stop the situation. He's had terrible draws throughout the game. The math is just not in his favor.
It's a much different game than our last game that you weren't recording.
MTG Degree is sitting on the other side of the table. He actually does have lethal in his hand with that Foul Tongue Shriek, but he doesn't have a swamp to cast it, so as far as he knows for now, he won't have lethal.
So I can't do that unless it's that, I don't think. So I can't even play that. I can't play that. And that would just be kind of dumb. So I'm going to tap, concede!